Hello and welcome back to the O Hockey Show. Now today, I am going to be talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets. But first, I just want to say welcome. Welcome to the show. I hope you're having the bestest of days. I hope you're having an extraordinary day. I hope you're having the best of days possible. If you're not, I hope you have a good one tomorrow. But anyways, I want to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets. I've already covered the Ducks, the Yotes, the Bruins, the Buffalo, the Carolina, the Calgary, the Blackhawks, the Colorado, and now the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, this was going to be an interesting one because I was considering doing, well, not really considering, but I thought about my Blackhawks video, which if you didn't see it, I basically made a joke how obviously the best player on that team is Patrick Kane, bar none. It's not even a question, like no one's going to put anybody above him on that team. So, kind of the same thing for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Usually I would go through, like, the guys that you could possibly name and be like, okay, out of these guys, who would it be? Kind of like for the Bruins. It's like, you could give a case for Pastrnak or Marchand or maybe Bergeron or even Taylor Hall, maybe even McAvoy. But for the Blue Jackets, no one is going to dispute that Johnny Gaudreau is the best player just to put on this team. No one's going to dispute that, so nobody's going to. So I'm going to give him automatically the green star of greatness right off the top of the video. And boom. So, alrighty. Video's done. Bye. Just kidding. So, I have decided for this video, and probably not this video alone, and going on in this series, that I will, for now on, have the number 2 star of Brown. That's what I'll call it. And basically, that is whoever is the second best player on every team. So, we already say Gaudreau's the best, obviously. No one's going to dispute that. But who could be the number 2 guy on this team? Who's going to be Gaudreau's secondary man? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the guy behind Gaudreau that stands for Columbus? So I decided, okay, let's start from the top to the bottom. Of course, Voracek is on the list because he led the team last year in points. Funnily enough, however, and that I thought was hilarious, is that he had 6 goals and 56 assists for 62 points. This guy is like playing like a defenseman. What the hell? He has 6 goals? I've never seen anything like that. Phil Kessel, I thought, was crazy that he had 52 assists and 14 goals. This guy just blows that guy out of the water. 6 goals and 56 assists. That's crazy. That was insane for me to see this when I was starting to write this board. So Voracek, good job not being selfish, because that is the definition of an unselfish player right there. Next, of course, we had Patrik Laine on the team with 56 points. Now, Laine, of course, I think he had 26 goals. I think off the top of my head it was 26 goals. Of course, he's probably going to play on that top line with Gaudreau and will be his goal-scoring mate. He's going to be the guy that he's going to feed the puck to, and Laine is going to try to wrist it in and get that goal in the back of the net. So, could Laine be that guy? Could he come into form as that superstar, next sniper, next goal scorer guy in the NHL that he was claimed to be back on the Lightning? I mean, not the Lightning, on the Jets, and obviously we know how that's gone since then. Laine hasn't really gone into that form. 26 goals, obviously, he's not the goal scorer make. However, with a guy like Gaudreau on his line, most likely, I could totally see him meshing well and finally being able to produce some more goals. I definitely see him jumping up in goals from 26. I would say he's a good 30s. He's in the 30s score. Maybe at the most in his career, something in the 40s, but I'd say good 30s, especially on Columbus here. So Laine is a name in there. However, a guy that I've always liked is Jack Roslovic, or Roslovic, however you want to say it. I think it's Roslovic. He from Columbus, and I always thought this was crazy. He's from Columbus, and he played on the junior Columbus Blue Jackets or something like that as a kid, like the Austin Matthews did for the Coyotes. I think that's hilarious, and they showed the pictures of him playing there. And I always think this kid could easily just make a jump whenever he wants. 45 points last year. If he could be the centerman for Gaudreau and Laine, this kid could be a huge, huge star. I think he just needs especially on a team like Columbus that's not really, he's more about being all around like a team playing instead of a superstar until now Gaudreau's there. I feel like Roslovic could easily make that jump. I think a great combination would be Gaudreau, Roslovic, and Laine on a line. I think that'd be a great combination there because it's all skill, all speed, and all of them can score, and I think that would be an amazing line. That could be one of the surprising top lines of the NHL. I would not be surprised. Roslovic, when he's on, he is on. That first run he had in Columbus when he went there from the Jets with Line A was insane. The number of goals and stuff that he had don't come off the top of my mind. That was I think it was like 2 years ago now. But I remember he had like so many goals and he was making these crazy plays. So I really like Roslovic. I think he could easily make that jump any point. Also, another guy I like, that young Cole Sillinger. 31 points last year, so obviously not amazing, but I think he was his only first year, maybe like first year and a half, whatever. Sillinger, 31 points. This is the type of guy that I could totally see making that jump as well. Now, I don't see him being able to make the jump like Roslovic. I think Cole Sillinger, I don't think he'll have room for the Gaudreau line, so I think he's going to be hurt by the lack of talent around him on whatever line he ends up on. But Sillinger, I think, still is great. I think he might make that jump next year to become a solid player. But I just don't see him doing that, so I feel like I could take him off the board, but I wanted to bring him up because Sillinger's going to be good, and I think everyone knows it. Now, of course, a guy that people make fun of for his way overpriced contract. However, I don't think he deserves all the scrutiny in the world that he gets. I think a guy like Darnell Nurse does, but Zach Werenski I don't think deserves it. 48 points, obviously nothing incredible, but I don't think he is that bad of a defenseman. Is he worth $9.285 million or something like that? Heck no. But I still think he's a good defenseman. If he was paid like $4 million, I'd be like, that's a pretty solid deal. I think he's a good guy and is a good player on his team. Way overpaid, but I don't think he's dead weight. I don't think he's like. I feel like the same thing could be said for Erik Karlsson as well, where his way overpayment just is kind of like. He's not. I don't know. Anyways, these guys obviously overpaid, but I don't think he's terrible. Definitely their best defenseman, except maybe Jake Bean and Adam Bachquist. Actually, they have a lot of good defensemen on there. So I just put his name on there just to talk about him and take off some scrutiny because I don't think he deserves all of it. Of course, Elvis Merzlikins, the guy with a cool name from, I think, Latvia. I really like Elvis Merzlikins. I think he is a solid young and up-and-coming goaltender. I think he would do really well on a different team. He kind of has that type of style and flash that I'd like to see on like a Florida Panthers or like a Vegas. I think if Vegas really wanted a good goaltender to replace Leonard while he's injured, I think Merzlikins would be good, even though I doubt Columbus would want to give him up. I wouldn't if he was on my team. I think Merzlikins could be really good. I just think he needs to be on a good team to show off how good he really is. I think without even a good team is good, but his team can't win. So, they might now. But anyways, Merzlikins, I think, is going to be a good goaltender. Best player, though, I mean, obviously, I think he will steal a show sometimes, as he has in the past. But Merzlikins, I think, definitely deserves a mention. Also, a couple guys that haven't really played. I mean, one guy played a few games, but whatever. But Kent Johnson only had 3 assists last year, but only in like 11 games. A lot of people. Now, I'll be honest. I don't know much about Kent Johnson. I don't. I'll be 100% honest with you. Don't know a lot about him. However, I have heard that he's the type that he might be one of the big rookies to jump out this year. That's what I've heard. So I put him on the board, even though I don't really know anything about him. And I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I have no idea. But another guy that could make that jump is Kirill Marchenko, another one of the Russian guys brought in. He has the same name as Kaprizov, so I figured he might be pretty good. So I put him on the board. And Marchenko, gotta be honest, also don't know much about him, but he seems like a cool guy because of his name. So I put him on the board. So after going through these guys, who would I predict is Gaudreau's number 2? Who is deserving of the number 2 marker? Star. Okay, you know what? It's not even a star. They get a circle. They get a circle for the number 2 spot. So, who do I give the number 2 circle to? I think behind Gaudreau, I think he can wipe away Johnson and Marchenko. I don't think they'll be there. Merzlikins, I don't think is good enough as a goaltender to really steal that number 2 slot. I think he's solid, but not solid enough. I think if he was on a team like the Wild to have a really good defensive core in front of him would be perfect for a guy like him. So I think Merzlikins wiped off. Cole Sillinger is an interesting choice, but I just don't think he would make on that top line and get some really good talent around him. Roslovic, I'm going to keep around. Jacob Voracek, I don't think can if he only gets 56 assists. A guy like that you can't keep promising, and he's probably not going to end up with those guys anyway, so I feel like Voracek no one's going to choose as your best player. So between Laine, Roslovic, and Gaudreau, I think that's kind of the... between Roslovic and Laine, who is Gaudreau's number 2? I feel, and I have a feeling that it's got to be Jack Roslovic, the Columbus boy himself. I am giving him the number 2 circle behind Gaudreau. I just feel like being from Columbus and now having a chance to win and actually play with really good, solid players, especially Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, I think him, Roslovic, and Laine are going to be amazing, and I think Roslovic is really going to run with it. He's shown that he has some really good skill and has a lot of potential, and I think with Gaudreau now, he's going to really take a jump and make that next step and just show that he has that potential. I mean, he's shown it off. I just think he needs the guys around him to really explode him. I think he's like the gunpowder. He's the gunpowder, and he just needs a spark. There was no sparks last year. Everything was wet and damp, and I think Johnny Hockey's going to be that flint, and I think Laine will be that steel, and they're going to spark, and he's going to explode. So that's how I feel about the Columbus Blue Jackets. Tell me down below, do you agree, or who else would you give the number 2 circle to? This is the green one. I mean, tell me if you disagree, Gaudreau's the best. If you do, I don't know what to tell you other than you're wrong. So, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button if you like this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below to the comments and tell me all about that. Who do you think's the best? Who do you think's number 2? I think it's Gaudreau's the best, and number 2 goes to Roslovic. That's all I have to say. Until next time, I have been your dapperly dressed host, Owen. Until next time, too sweet, and ta-ta for now.